you think I'm pretty? You think I'm funny? Welcome back to Seek His Strength and welcome back to Seek His Stan. So, solo news show again today. Dara has got the virus of unknown origin from the unknown country and we can't talk about it, but he's not here today. We're holding off to today, see if he could come back today, but he can't. So we gotta do it solo again today. Got a lot of good stuff today. I'm keen to get through loads of tags again this week, more than any other week. So many of them. I actually had to do 2 rounds of filtering. I just had to start cutting things from people tagged to get the stuff I wanted to get in, but also include a lot of your stuff. And I actually couldn't go back far enough from the tags to the last news show because there are so many tags, which I fucking love that. I'm so appreciative of that. We really appreciate it. So please keep that up because a lot of cool stuff. But without further ado, let's start off with the battle of some of the best squats in weightlifting on the female side, but just in weightlifting in general. So we'll start off with the Italian Giulia Miserandino. So she's squatting 160 for a double in the quintessential red brick training hall. And I'm going to really try and not read the comments, but I can already see some gobshites already. But we got to look. So 160 by double. So she competes as a 63 kilo weightlifter. She's quite young and still very early in her career in terms of weightlifting, especially in absolute strength. So you'll see that kind of with female weightlifters. Will develop a little bit later with the absolute strength. So who knows where she's going to end up with this. So we can see some clean and jerks from her. Her jerk seems to be getting very good. So if we look at these 110 kilo jerks up to 115, very, very, very sharp. So really fast, really good transition into the split jerk position. The timing of the Italian jerk is something that's incredibly interesting. So I'd be very interested to see how they teach that. But they do seem to do a lot of jerk from rack, seem to do some push pressing and quite a lot of upper body bodybuilding. So certainly all plays into that. So very good jerk. Then we've got Kate Vibrat. So she competes as a probably 76, I think. And she's squatting 167 for 4 reps in the new tier weightlifting shoe. I got them at the whites, look nice. I haven't got a pair of them yet, but I will at some stage try and get my hands on them. Aaron, if you're watching, maybe you could get me a pair. But so 167 by 4. Really nice quality squat. Kate shifts back a lot towards her heels. That's something I'd be a big, huge fan of, but I know she had the meniscus injury not so long ago, so she's on the comeback, so it might be an alteration of that. Obviously, her squat is very, very strong. I know she squatted, I think, at least 180, maybe 182, so she's got to have her mindset surely on a 200 kilo squat, which would be incredibly impressive for a 70-odd kilo person, let alone a 70-odd kilo female weightlifter. So interesting. She did used to be sponsored by Valesa shoes, so it's interesting that she's wearing the tier weightlifting shoes now. So I think that's around something about, maybe she's like 75 kilos, something like 2.2 times body weight. Giulia's would have been like 2.5. Then we have Cambei Valentina, I hope that's right. So she's squatting 135 for a double. So she competes as a 49, assuming she's like 50-51. This is a 2.7-ish times body weight. Really nice squats, really fast, really good positions. All of them are really good quality squats. Technically, they're all perfect, and it's a very good thing to watch for if you're trying to perfect your high bar squat. I didn't want to do it, but I'm going to have to read some of the comments. Hey, that was dope, but try keep your knees out next time and lock that core more. Good job, girl, in exclamation marks. What upsets me more is not that this tool commented this, but that 7 people liked it. She's literally a world-class athlete, an elite athlete with a coach of Olympians behind her. I think they'd be okay. I think they'd figure it out. I think they'd be all right with what's going on. Looks like glutes are weaker than quads, leading to buckling knees. Knees tend to buckle when glutes are not strong enough during squat. Oh my gosh, I cannot. Oh, a bit too fast, in my opinion, but that was awesome. Let's go. Great squat. Is it done natural? Wonder how she'll feel 45 years old. Probably better than most 45-year-old people because she'll be strong. Jesus. Woo! That was right. Let's look at Kate. I bet Kate's would be pretty nice, most of them. Are those the new wide toe box lifters? Interesting how that's known as this year. No more Valessa sponsorship. Some jabber there. Tablets. Holy fucking shirt balls. Okay, so no creepy comments. We're doing good. Nothing weird. Nothing telling her what to do. Okay. So this is good. So, oh no, hang on. Ain't no holla back girl, but still got all that back girl. Oh, we were doing so good. There was nothing weird. Love the peach angle, but I need to see those from the side. Oh. Ugh. No. This person has kids. Fucking hell. All right, Valentina's are going to be dreadful. I just, very bad technique. Let your hands down. Oh, why you learn it like this? Another world-class athlete with a junior world championships to her name. Woo, I think she knows what she's doing. Did you ever go slow on the eccentric? Probably not relevant. Okay, that's just a weird comment, but it's still just a normal comment. Why elbows so high? Dumb question. Kilos. Okay, these actually weren't that bad. Okay, they are actually not the worst. Whew. Now, moving on. So, Artyom Antropov. Remember I said that I was going to message Artyom and ask him what his best lifts were? Well, I did just that, and I'm just going to tell you what they were. So, I was like, do you mind if I ask you a few questions about your training? And Artyom was like, sure. Now, I don't like sharing the messages, so I'll just read them out to you. So, I said, hey, can I ask you a few questions? He said, sure. My English isn't great. I just wanted to know his best numbers. 173 snatch, 225 kilo clean and jerk, 300 for a double back squat and a 281 front squat. 300 by 2 is not his best. Plans to try it soon. I asked him had he ever tried more than 173 and he just said no. Then I asked did he have a video and he said yes. But he did not send the video, but that's okay. So thanks for Artyom for clearing that up. So didn't try more than 173. I'd like to ask him why it's not more than 173, but that's just a really rude question to ask, so we just can't ask that. But we're wondering. I'm just interested why it's not more than 173. There's a very obvious and good reason, but I would just want to know what it is. But we can't ask that. He's a great lifter, so that's 225, and I think he's going to squat 320. Looking at that, and if he's planning to try more soon, judging by how easy his 300s for doubles are, I'm going to say 315 to 320, and hopefully he'll upload a video, and hopefully we'll see the 173. Also, let's just look at that 172 real quick. So his snatches never look maximal. They all look to be in the 80s to 90%. Like they all look like there's another 15 to 20 kilos there, at least 15, minimum 10 kilos more. So it's just there must be something going on that's just not obvious to us. Could be tiny hands, but even then with straps he should be fine. We've got Arley Mendez back with some hang snatches, so he does seem to be getting back into shape. I assume he's gunning for Tokyo, which is next year, which is mental. And I'm waiting to get an email from Paris, Tokyo, to see if I get an opportunity to buy some tickets. Hopefully I'll be able to buy some tickets for weightlifting, so myself and Fitz can get in. The draw has been done. The first draw has been done at the moment. Notoriously difficult to get tickets for the Olympics or to get tickets for what you want. So hopefully I'll be able to get something good. I'd watch any session, to be honest. So Arley worked up to 160 hang snatches. He's looking close to good form again. Leading up to the Olympics, he was just never in that same condition after the 2017 Worlds. So here's a 150. Super fast, super easy. He's a really, really powerful lifter. Unusual technique, but more than made up for by skill and power, which is something in weightlifting that if you have enough of it, most people don't, but if you have enough, you can get away with a lot. So 160, very casual. God, I'd love to see him get back to all numbers because he's a great lifter. Sticking with the hang snatches and sticking with great lifters, we've Antonio Pizzolato or Nino Pizzolato. So it looks to be hang snatching in the first clip, something like 140 for a double. Could be a bit more, maybe 150. Did that weird missy makey first rep on hangs, but it doesn't matter. Really nice straight extension, keeps the bar super close. A very athletic lifter. And we see some higher reps. So 2, 3, Caher. He's going for a 5th, so 4 reps. So high rep snatches, maybe kind of a power development kind of phase. I like that for the variations. I don't like massively high reps on the full lifts, anything beyond 3s. But for hangs, especially hang snatches, hang power cleans, for example, nice little power development phase if it's needed. for weightlifters, where you can just kind of go ham with those reps and not really worried about altering technique too much. Now, Nino seems to really like hang snatches. We see it a lot in his training. So it'll be very interesting to see him get back into good shape. And hopefully he'll keep uploading training, he's a great lifter to watch. He also just uploaded before this 210 kilo squat for a set of 4. Now, who does 4 reps on the squat? Nobody knows on the front squat. He's also clearly on some kind of redemption arc because he shaved his head. He got that buzz cut, got that fuckboy buzz cut. Absolutely technically immaculate, perfect, zero form breakdown on these front squats. They are beautiful. I don't agree with the 210 loading, but that's how it is. So very easy, very technically perfect, incredibly upright. He catches cleans with that open grip, that fingertip grip, and he jerks with that. No, he doesn't jerk. He jerks lighter weights with the fingertip grip. And here he is with just murking this 210 kilo front squats. Great to see. So very interested to see. I feel like Nino could do a 270 when he's at the peak of his training cycle, if you know what I mean. Definitely do like 260 or something crazy. Another return of a great Ruslan Nuradinov. So we've seen very little from him in months. Back with some deficit cleans. And we see the Uzbek team do these a lot. Very hard to tell what this weight is. Looks to be 170 to 190. We can't see the plates and he didn't say. But deficit clean, 2 power jerks. Well, kind of push jerks is kind of a no foot, which I like the terminology there to call no foot power jerks push jerks. So really nice technique. Who knows? It's kind of all to play for. This next year is going to be very, very interesting in terms of Olympic development and Olympic qualification, because you only need to do good at one competition and then show up for others. So we don't know who's going to show up when and where and in what condition, but we can be sure to see some big performances, but hopefully we get to see them all together. So Ruslan back training. Notoriously great lifter, developing really well, very consistent, very good in competition. So didn't quite get his snatch back after his little holiday. He's aka his ban, but his clean jerk came back very well. But we didn't see. He did talk about having some trouble with the snatch, or getting quite back up to the 200 plus reps. You know, he got into the 180s, but not quite into the 200s. Like he was before Rio, but hopefully we'll see him again. Great lifter, very unusual technique, makes it work incredibly well. It makes sense for him, and it's great to watch. So very long pull, really high into the hip pocket, but he is built a little bit unusually for weightlifting, but my God, does he make it work. Then we've got Georgy Kupstov, Russian weightlifter, formerly 94, moved up to the 100s, so marking this 200 kilo clean and jerk. A lot of videos of the Russians seem to be training again. David Badzanian seems to be on the team. Okolov, a couple of regular lifters that you'd know seem to be lifting, but of course they're not going to be competing anytime soon. So as far as I'm aware, they're just competing for Russian nationals. Timur Nanev is competing also. This is probably the most aesthetic training hall you'll ever see, or definitely up there. It's certainly tied with anything, and this 200 is looking great. So, you know, maybe we might see some big lifts in training or in comp, but who knows what their training, what the training atmosphere is like. Maybe it's nice. Who knows? I'd be very interested to see what the feeling around the training camps are like in that place. Just on that, Victor Getz is training in Ilya Ilyan's gym, so he fled to Kazakhstan and he seems to be training away recently, which is great to see. Did a video with Victor Getz on his clean. Very nice guy, very, very helpful, very pleasant. Gave a nice insight to the Russian system. He was very outspoken about the current situation and fled to Kazakhstan, and now seems to be interacting with a bit of Ilya, and he seems to be training, which is great. So I hope all goes well for him. The big dog himself, Lasha Thalakadze, is coming back into shape, looking very fast, very slick. Doubles at 160 and then 5 sets at 180. So as many of you know, I'm coached by Anton Plesnik, who used to lift for Georgia. And similar kind of, they favor that kind of volume initially and then move on to the heavier sets. So if you're going up to like 120 for a single in the snatch, you'll do a lot of volume on the way up and get the work in and then peak out at that top rep. So you get nice quality reps in at the lighter weights, nice consistency, but you still get the heavier reps in. And we see kind of Lasha do this format quite a bit. So there's always quite a meaningful amount of volume in terms of those heavier weights for him. And Lasha's looking good. So these 180s are looking sharp. Great foot movement. Technique looks as good as ever. Very fast under the barbell. If I had to bet, I would say Paris is going to be Lasha's last Olympics, and hopefully it'll be a magnificent performance, and then the big dog can rest from there and just enjoy his family and hopefully his money and Georgian food, which isn't that bad. Now, moving on to the next bit, we're kind of onto the battle of the teenagers. So a lot of these you guys tagged us in, and this gentleman, I've seen him a lot. You've all probably seen him. So Ibanez is his coach, if I'm correct. I just need to confirm this. So, oh no, it is his name. So Brian Ibanez is a Canadian weightlifter. I don't know why I thought they're of Spanish descent for some reason. Maybe it's just a name. But regardless of that fact, Ibanez is squatting 240 here. Extreme external rotation in those hips, really upright in the bottom. 240, moving incredibly well at 16. Really nice upright squat, very fast, nice and casual. And he seems to be working hard for his lifts, and he's training very, very hard. I feel like he's only recently 16 as well. So an incredible squat. A lot of you guys tag us in their stuff routinely throughout the weeks, and so it's great to see. Next up, we have got Simon Pettersson. I feel like he's German from what I remember. So he is also 16 as well. Let me just confirm that. I believe he is 16. I was just in his bio. Yes, he's 16. Natural powerlifter. Squatting 280. Low bar. Very nice positions. Very fast. 240. Murdering these reps. The music they listen to is very funny. The kids these days. So nailing 280 at 16. Incredible lifting. Nice and handy. No major tactical breakdown. Nice good lift. Very happy. So great to see at 16. These teenagers are getting fucking strong, lads, and it's great to see. I'm here for it. I'm here for them as long as they are, staying healthy and not doing anything stupid this early. Leave it for later, lads. Leave it till you're older. Wait till you're a bit more developed. Not saying anything about anyone in particular, but I'm just saying for you guys watching, because I know there's a lot of younger lifters watching, don't do it. Just wait till you're at least into your 20s. Don't do it. It's not worth it. Unless you're trying to be a World Olympic champion, then it probably is worth it. Now, moving on to our third teenager. So this is 325 kilos at 17 years old. This is by Nanso Chinye. He's a Great Britain or GBR lifter. And this flew up with a conventional 325 in competition. Mixed grip, absolutely no fucking problem to him. So this is the IPF Junior Worlds. King of the Lifts posted this. Incredibly good lift. The comments on this one are absolute dirt. Just absolute shit. A shit show on it. Great lifting from him. Great to see. Apparently he's just recently getting into powerlifting. Of course, at 17, how it can only be recent, but it must have been very recently if they're saying that. So incredible lifting, great to see. We have got Track and Fields is his Instagram, and he seems to be coached by Garrett Strength. Garrett Strength puts a lot of content on YouTube as well. His name is Sam Mattis, Track and Fields. Now we've seen him attempt at 227 behind the neck jerk. Throwers are sick. They're animals. They're some of the most explosive power athletes you'll see in terms of just big weights, and they'll just throw them the fuck up. And if you've seen from a lot of our videos, and it's great to watch. Now, we don't often see them do heavy single legs, but we've 190 kilos for a single leg triple here, full depth, very nice for 190 kilos. So I love the idea of heavy single leg squats. It's just really hard to do. It's kind of dangerous to set them up. There is a lot of potential for just an acute injury where you just slip and fall and hurt yourself. But there is a lot of payoff in them if you can do them okay. That roller thing seems to be getting quite popular. Now, you might look at that knee pad or the thing to kind of protect his knee, the foam, and you might be like, oh, is it kind of reducing the force a little bit in terms of if we are moving on to an unstable surface or reducing the force output. But I think given that it's his back leg hitting this, I don't think it's going to be majorly impacting it. They're very clean reps, nice and fast as well, which is how you want your thrower to be moving all the time. If you had to sum up a thrower's training, it's heavy weights fast. That's what it should be. Heaviest weights as fast as possible, and you control both of those variables, and these are very good. So they're incredible reps. So it's great to see nice and fast as well. So great to see looking at that. Now, next up, you might remember the Cambei lift. So we've got Deadliest Lift here, or Mark Rosenberg. You probably have seen do some crazy lifts. I think Zach did a full video on him. So he topped out at 600 pounds, which is 272.5 kilos. And he actually had to take a tile out of his roof to do this. So you might remember it from the Bavarian Steineben lift. Steineben lift. If anyone wants to phonetically correct my Bavarian pronunciation, feel free. Steineben. I did some German in school, but I retained zero of it. So he said this was the most he can get. Now we know Mark is an incredibly good deadlifter from very strange positions. So he's gotten the handles from the Dinny stones, if anyone knows who those are, at the Scottish stones with the Dinny handles, and you can buy those handles. Now he's doing the Steineben lift from a legitimate deficit, so below his feet, which seems to be the kind of the standard for that. It's incredibly interesting. We speculated it is very difficult, and it's a very impressive lift. I think the dude we saw do it did something like 260, if I remember correctly, in his later hosen. So the fact that Mark is topping out at 272 is telling us how difficult this is. So it's really at that point where your back is almost kind of parallel with the floor and you've ran out of leg extension. You have to keep pulling with your back. I would probably try sumo a bit more if I'd ever got a chance to try it. You can see Mark pulls aggressively with the leg extensions quickly, and then there's a lot of back to finish it. But I wonder if that's due to the balance, and are you forced to finish with primarily hip extension, and is it incredibly necessary to lock out the knee extensors very quickly, which I suspect might be the case. So it'll be very interesting to try this lift. He said he was disappointed he couldn't do more. So very cool lift. I'd be interested to see if Mark trains this anymore and if he can get any higher. I love that kind of that handle setup. Super useful for stuff like belt squats. Very useful for kind of, sometimes they're called a duck handle. If you have a T-bar, but that's the Denny Stone handle there. So great little assistance if you're setting up your home gym. Now, on to someone who I feel doesn't get enough credit, or kind of has been maybe under the radar for a long time, is Tom Martin. So Tom returned to competition for the first time since 2018. Tom is frighteningly athletic. If you remember his old videos back in the day when he used to do a little bit of weightlifting, a lot of high bar squats. Tom has been injured a lot, gets injured frequently because he pushes the limits. And he returned to competition. He did a 300 kilo squat, buries his squats as usual, a 190 bench and a 370 deadlift. Now the thing with Tom is he's an incredibly well-rounded lifter. He is huge, in great shape. You know, he's just kind of that big, strong guy doing big, strong things. You know, if you're a horse, everything just kind of looks better. So he said his prep wasn't expecting to hit the 190, if you read the caption. And he kind of nailed that 190, to be honest. Conventional deadlifter. I think we saw him do sumo for a little bit, but the power Tom puts out when he's lifting is fantastic. And it's great to see him on the comeback because, you know, he's a phenomenal lifter. So these 350s moving super easy, and then topped out with a 370. So an 860 kilo total, and hopefully this is the start of a good run for Tom's training, as you know, he's certainly capable of a lot more of this, and it'd be great to see him do it on the competition platform. Speaking of people who are frighteningly strong, we've got John Haack finishing out the strength section with a 415 kilo deadlift, conventional PB deadlift, and he's looking juicy. So 415, again, always very fast to just above the knee position, and then the lockout just nicely finishing it through. Never any form breakdown. You just see that bar speed slow down a lot. Always lifting in his beanie. Wonder why he does that, actually. We never see him lift without the beanie. So great deadlifter. Love the positions. Obviously incredible weight as a 89 kilo lifter. Hopefully he'll move up and we'll see some massive weights. But I think he's really focused on, you see a lot in these stories, that he just wants to increase his total more than any individual lift, which is kind of interesting perspective. Typically, kind of when you look from the outside, you kind of focus on those individual lifts. His bench seems to have come back as well nicely. So for his prep, so he benched 265. So he seems to be motoring. So touch and go 265. As we've seen, John is a good lifter in comp, a very good comp lifter, and he's hitting 355. Typically a high bar squatter, you know, that's what he does in competition. That's how he moves it. Sometimes people question in the comments, but you know, John leaves it in no doubt. Now, lastly, for the combat section, we've got Khabib just nattering and talking about how much he loves judo and how he uses it in his training. Okay, let's start this again, and we'll listen to this one, because Khabib talking is always so funny because he's so laconic in his communication. Some sick throws. Been working a lot on Uchimata and Teotoshi recently for myself, for anyone who likes judo, for my jiu-jitsu, of course. I'm going to practice a Teotoshi as well, a nice little way into side control. I've heard Khabib talk about in his gym that for them jiu-jitsu, if you're not on top, jiu-jitsu for MMA, if you're not on top, you're losing. If you're on the bottom, your jiu-jitsu is not right for MMA and you're just getting smashed. So, of course, jiu-jitsu and judo and wrestling, you know, very closely intertwined, first cousins of each other. So he's just saying if he had an opportunity to take judo Olympic gold medal or the MMA championships, he would have picked judo 100%. He loves it, and obviously, you know, retired as a great fighter, and seems to have taken a step away from coaching as well recently, from what people have seen, or from what we've seen from the internet. So very interesting in that regard. Seems to be a very principled man by the looks of things. Seems to stick to his ideals, and hopefully everything goes well from him. And there's some sick throws there. Hopefully I can replicate that in my own training eventually. So leave an algo comment for your local temperature that it was this morning. That'll confuse the algo. It was like 5 degrees Celsius, but a very sunny day in Ireland. So a great, nice fresh morning. Thanks for watching, and I promise, Dara will be back on the next video. Thanks, guys.